games, coaching tips to fit your aims. No more playing.
Welcome to the House of Coaching Deep Dive podcast with Marcia and John. Join them as they explore the wealth of knowledge from leading coaches Steph, Carl, and Hans.
Bring out the best in you.
Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. We had this really interesting interview with Hans.
From House to Coaching, right?
Yeah, an NLP expert from the House of Coaching.
Yeah.
And it's all about, how our brains process experiences.
Yeah.
It's like we've been driving our brains on autopilot.
Yeah.
And Hans is handing us the keys to manual mode,
It is really fascinating. I mean, he uses the analogy of a camera.
Okay.
And it's like you adjust the brightness,
Right.
the focus.
Yeah.
Depending on the shot that you want.
Yeah.
You can actually tweak how your brain internally, I guess, quote unquote, sees memories and experiences.
Right.
And those tweaks can change how you feel about them.
That's so interesting because it reminds me,
Yeah.
when I was learning photography, I used to think the camera did all the work.
Sure.
But once I started playing with the manual settings, I realized I had so much more creative control.
Exactly. And NLP calls these mental tweets submodalities.
Okay.
They're like the fine-tuning dials for your mental representation of them. So the color, the size, distance, even the movement of those images in your mind.
Oh, so if I have a happy memory,
Yeah.
I can consciously make it brighter and more vivid in my mind, and that's going to boost those positive feelings.
That's the idea.
Wow.
And it works for difficult memories, too.
Interesting.
Imagine taking a stressful event and mentally adding circus music to it. Suddenly, the whole feeling shifts, right?
I love that. It's like you're changing the soundtrack to your memories, and that changes the entire emotional experience.
Right.
Yeah, I'm already starting to see how powerful this is.
Yeah.
But, if we can manipulate our memories like this, who's really in control?
Right. Well, most of us are kind of on autopilot, letting our experiences just happen to us.
Yeah.
But Hans suggests that we can choose how we represent those experiences internally, which then impacts how we feel about them.
Okay, so instead of being at the mercy of whatever mental imagery pops up,
Yeah.
we can actually, direct it.
Precisely. And another way that we can direct our experience is through association and dissociation.
Great.
It's all about perspective.
Okay.
Are you in the memory,
Okay.
reliving it as if it's happening right now?
Yeah.
That's association.
Okay.
Or are you watching yourself from the outside, like a movie?
Right. Yeah.
That's dissociation.
Okay, so association is like being in the driver's seat,
Yes.
fully immersed, and dissociation is more like being a passenger,
Yes.
observing from a distance.
You got it.
Okay.
And both have their uses.
Okay.
Association is great for amplifying positive experiences,
Uh-huh.
while dissociation can be incredibly helpful for gaining distance from difficult ones.
This is giving me major getting out of bed vibes.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like you're cozy under the covers.
Uh-huh.
You're totally associated with those sensations.
Right.
But if you can mentally step out of your body and see yourself lying in bed from across the room,
Right.
it's so much easier to get up.
That's a perfect example. By shifting your perspective, you change your relationship to the experience.
Wow.
Think about customer service jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to dissociate from a difficult customer interaction can make all the difference in how you respond.
It's like having an emotional shield that protects you from getting swept up in the negativity.
Totally.
So we've got these mental dials for tweaking our memories,
Yes.
and we can shift our perspective from inside to outside. This is already a lot to process.
Yeah.
What about our beliefs?
Uh-huh.
How do they fit into all of this?
Beliefs are like the operating system of your mind.
Okay.
They determine what you think is possible, how you react to the world,
Right.
and even what actions you take.
Yeah.
And what's really important to understand is that beliefs are learned,
Okay.
not fixed.
But-
They were installed at some point,
Yeah.
and just like software, they can be upgraded or replaced.
So if beliefs are learned, that means they can be unlearned or changed.
Yes, right.
But how do we actually do that?
Well, Hans uses this great example of a woman who was struggling with weight loss,
Okay.
and she had a deep-seated belief that it was an endless uphill battle.
So was her mental imagery reflecting that belief?
Yes.
Was she picturing herself failing over and over again?
Exactly.
Wow.
Her successes were dim and distant,
Okay.
while her failures were front and center,
Yeah.
playing on a mental jumbotron.
So they worked on adjusting those submodalities,
Yeah,
making the successes more prominent and pushing the failures into the background.
that's exactly it.
That makes so much sense. It's like she was inadvertently reinforcing that negative belief with her mental imagery.
Exactly.
But changing a belief isn't always as simple as flipping a switch, right?
Right.
We have to consider what he calls the ecology of beliefs.
Yeah.
How changing one belief can impact other areas of our lives.
Right, like for example.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that a bit more? How could changing a belief have unintended consequences?
Okay, let's say someone believes that they're not good at public speaking.
Okay.
This might seem limiting,
Right.
but it could be protecting them from situations that they don't feel ready to handle.
Oh, interesting.
So when we change a belief,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we're installing new resources and capabilities alongside it.
So it's not just about ripping out the old belief.
Right.
It's about making sure you have something positive and supportive to put in its place.
Exactly.
To make sure the change is truly positive.
You want the change to be positive and sustainable.
Right.
But all of this raises another fascinating question.
Okay.
How does our emotional state affect our ability to change beliefs and learn new things?
That's a great question. I'm guessing it's not ideal to try and install a new positive belief when you're feeling stressed out and anxious.
You're right on the money.
Right.
It all comes down to something called state-dependent memory.
Okay.
Whatever emotional state you're in when you learn something gets linked to that knowledge.
Oh, so if I'm trying to memorize a presentation
Yeah.
while I'm freaking out about public speaking,
Yeah.
I'm basically wiring my brain to associate that presentation with anxiety.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And then when it comes time to give the presentation, all that anxiety comes flooding back.
Right.
This is why so many people have trouble remembering things they learned in stressful school environments.
Oh, interesting.
It's called school amnesia for a reason.
Yeah, that's wild. I've definitely had moments where I couldn't recall something I knew I learned, but it was like my brain filed it under too stressful to remember.
Precisely. This is why creating positive learning states is so important. If you're trying to learn something new, make sure you're in a relaxed, curious, and engaged state.
Yeah.
It will make a world of difference in how well you retain that information.
It's starting to feel very interconnected.
Yeah.
It's like all these elements,
Yeah.
the submodalities, the perspective shifts,
Yeah.
the belief.
And the emotional states.
Yeah. And they're all working together
They are.
to shape our experiences.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a complete system.
Wow.
The way we process experiences affects our beliefs. Our beliefs influence our emotional states.
Right.
And those states impact how we learn and remember.
So if we understand how this system works, we can actually use it to create positive changes in our lives.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yes, we have.
We've explored the brain's secret settings, submodalities, association and dissociation, and the crucial role of beliefs.
It's a lot to take in.
Yes, it is.
But in the next part, we'll take it a step further and look at practical ways to apply all this knowledge
Yes,
to real-life challenges. So stay tuned.
definitely.
Hey there, awesome listener. Want to know something exciting? In this episode, Marcia and John give away 20 free copies of the amazing book Beyond Words. Head over to podcast.thehouseofcoaching.com right now to claim yours. Remember, once they're gone, they're gone.
Welcome back. It's amazing, how much control we have over our mental processes when we understand how they work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So are you ready to delve into some practical applications?
Absolutely. We've laid the groundwork, right, by understanding those secret settings of the brain.
Yeah.
So now how can we actually use these techniques in everyday life?
Let's take a common challenge as an example.
Okay.
Preparing for a presentation.
Good.
It's something a lot of people find stressful.
Oh, tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking about standing up in front of a crowd, it makes my heart race.
But instead of letting that automatic reaction take over, imagine consciously choosing how you want to experience the situation.
Okay.
It starts with noticing how you're picturing the presentation in your mind.
I'm definitely guilty of picturing all the things that could go wrong. It's like my brain loves to create worst-case scenario highlight reels.
And those mental pictures just fuel the anxiety, right?
Yeah, right.
So step one is to use those submodalities we discussed.
Yeah.
Make those negative images smaller, dimmer, push them further away.
It's like I'm taking control of the projector in my mind and swapping out the horror movie for something a bit more lighthearted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then create a bigger, brighter, more compelling image of yourself succeeding.
Oh.
See yourself confidently delivering the presentation, engaging the audience.
Yeah.
Nailing your key points.
So it's about replacing the doom and gloom reel with a success and confidence highlight reel.
Yeah.
I can see how that would shift my entire emotional state.
Right.
Yeah. But what about those pesky limiting beliefs?
Yeah.
You know, the I'm not good at public speaking gremlins that love to sabotage me?
Those gremlins feed off selective memory.
Okay.
We tend to remember our public speaking mishaps vividly
Right.
while downplaying or forgetting our successes.
Ugh, it's like my brain has a greatest hits of public speaking fails album on constant repeat.
But you can use those submodality techniques to change how you represent those memories, make the failures smaller, dimmer, less significant, bring forward memories of times that you've spoken successfully, even in small settings, like a conversation with a friend where you felt articulate and confident.
Right.
Amplify those positive memories.
I'm getting it. It's about creating a new playlist.
Yeah.
A best of public speaking wins to replace the old one.
Right.
But sometimes, even when I try to focus on the positive, that anxious feeling creeps back in.
That's where the power of dissociation comes in. Okay. When anxiety starts to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
Step outside of yourself mentally.
Okay.
Picture yourself watching yourself giving the presentation.
So it's about gaining some distance from the situation.
Yeah.
Instead of being trapped in the spotlight, I'm watching the performance from the audience.
Exactly. From that detached perspective, you can observe things more calmly.
Right.
And objectively, you might even notice things that you can improve.
Okay.
Like your posture.
Yeah.
Or eye contact.
Yeah.
Without getting emotionally charged.
That's a great strategy for managing those pre-presentation jitters.
Right.
But it feels like we're missing a piece of the puzzle here, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about changing the mental imagery, shifting our perspective. What about actively creating a positive emotional state?
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Remember, state-dependent learning.
Right, yeah.
If you're trying to create a new empowering belief about public speaking, you don't want to do it while feeling anxious and stressed.
So it's not enough to just change the pictures in my head.
Right.
I need to actually feel confident and capable while I'm doing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Practice your presentation while in a positive, resourceful state.
Okay.
Maybe put on some music that makes you feel confident or visualize yourself succeeding.
Okay.
Create a positive anchor that you can access later when you need it.
So each time I practice, I'm essentially strengthening that association between public speaking and feeling confident and capable.
Precisely.
It's like building a mental muscle.
Yes.
The more you practice in a positive state, the easier it becomes to access that state in real-life situations.
Exactly.
This is all starting to click, fella. But how do we know these techniques actually work? Is there any, evidence to support these claims?
These techniques aren't just theoretical concepts.
Right.
They're based on how our brains naturally process information.
Okay.
And there's a growing body of research and anecdotal evidence to support their effectiveness.
It's encouraging to know that there's real science backing this up.
Yeah.
But with all these different techniques, where should someone even begin?
The key is to start small and focus on one area at a time.
Okay.
Don't try to overhaul your entire mental operating system overnight.
So pick one battle to fight.
Right.
Instead of trying to fight a war on every front.
Exactly.
Okay.
Once you've chosen your focus, experiment with the different techniques we've discussed.
Okay.
Play with submodalities.
Yeah.
Practice perspective shifts. Challenge limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Pay close attention to your emotional state while learning or practicing new skills.
This is a lot to absorb.
Yeah, it is.
Any tips for someone who might feel overwhelmed by all this information?
Be patient with yourself.
Okay.
You're essentially rewiring neural patterns that may have been in place for years.
Right.
So it takes time and consistent practice.
Okay.
But the results can be truly transformative.
I'm already feeling more empowered just by understanding these concepts.
Yeah.
What other fascinating insights are in store for us in the final part of this deep dive?
In the final part, we'll explore how these powerful techniques can help you achieve your goals and reach your full potential, so don't miss it.
Ready to unlock hidden potential in yourself and others? Discover the transformative power of NLP at the House of Coaching. Visit www.houseofcoaching.com and take the first step toward mastering the psychology of excellence.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the power of the mind.
Yeah.
We've explored how to, tweak our mental settings, change our perspectives, even upgrade our beliefs.
Right.
But I'm eager to see how all this can help us achieve our goals.
It's all connected. When we talk about achieving goals, we're essentially talking about creating a future experience in our minds that we then bring into reality.
Yeah.
And the way we mentally represent those goals plays a huge role in whether we achieve them or not.
I can see that when I think about some of my bigger goals.
Yeah.
they often feel distant and overwhelming.
Right.
It's almost like they're out of reach.
That feeling often comes from picturing our goals as these far-off destinations, which can be demotivating.
Yeah.
But here's where those NLP techniques come into play.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing your goal as a faint dot on the horizon,
Yeah.
try using submodalities to make that mental image bigger, brighter, and more compelling.
So instead of a vague idea,
Yeah.
I need to create a vivid,
Yeah.
almost irresistible picture of what it will feel like to achieve that goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's another key step.
Okay.
Break down that big, seemingly impossible goal
Yeah.
into smaller, more manageable milestones.
Oh.
Think of it as creating a mental roadmap with clear markers along the way.
It's like those trail maps you see at national parks. Instead of just seeing the final destination, you see all the smaller trails and rest stops along the way.
Right.
It makes the journey feel less daunting.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And make each milestone feel achievable. Something you can realistically accomplish in the near future.
Okay.
But remember, it's not just about the visuals.
Okay.
How you feel about those milestones is just as important.
That brings us back to state-dependent learning, right?
Yes.
If I want to feel motivated to reach those milestones, I need to cultivate that feeling of motivation while I'm planning and working towards them.
You're getting it.
Good.
For each step on your mental roadmap,
Yeah.
imagine yourself feeling confident,
Okay.
capable, and driven.
Uh-huh.
Each small success will then become a positive anchor,
Okay.
reinforcing those feelings
Yeah.
and propelling you forward.
This is all making so much sense.
Good.
But I know there will be times when those limiting beliefs creep back in,
Right.
telling me I'm not capable or that I'm going to fail. What can we do to combat those negative thoughts?
Remember, those beliefs are often rooted in selective memory.
Right.
We tend to focus on past failures
Right.
while downplaying or forgetting our successes.
Yeah, that's true.
Use the submodalities to adjust those memories.
Okay.
Make the failures smaller and dimmer and bring those successes front and center.
So it's about consciously choosing which memories to emphasize.
Exactly.
Just like we can choose which mental pictures to focus on when visualizing our goals.
Right.
But sometimes even when I try to shift my focus, those negative thoughts keep swirling around.
In those moments, remember the power of dissociation.
Okay.
Step back and observe those thoughts from a detached, almost curious perspective.
Okay.
Don't judge them. Don't engage with them. Simply acknowledge them and let them pass.
Well, it's like those meditation practices where you notice your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky.
Right.
You don't try to control them, you just observe them.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
from that detached perspective, you can choose which thoughts to engage with and which ones to simply let go of.
Okay.
It's about reclaiming your power over your mental landscape.
This has been such an incredible journey.
It has.
It feels like we've explored a whole new world within our own minds.
Absolutely.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We've just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to discover about the power of our minds.
Absolutely.
But the key takeaway is this.
Yes.
You have far more control over your thoughts, feelings, and actions than you might realize.
Right.
And the more you practice these techniques,
Yeah.
the more adept you become at creating the life you truly desire.
Absolutely.
What a fantastic reminder. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Yes, it has.
I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to navigate my inner world
Good.
and achieve my goals.
That's wonderful to hear.
Thank you.
Remember, the journey of self-discovery and growth is ongoing.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn and more potential to unlock.
Right.
But the most important step is the one you take today.
Absolutely. What's one simple action our listeners can take right now to start putting these insights into practice?
Choose one goal you're currently working towards.
Okay.
Take a few moments to visualize achieving that goal.
Okay.
Make that mental image as vivid and compelling as possible. Then break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. And imagine yourself feeling confident and capable as you achieve each milestone.
What a great place to start.
It is.
And to all our listeners out there, as you continue your journey of personal growth,
Yes.
remember to stay curious,
Yeah.
keep exploring, and never underestimate the incredible power of your own mind.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've gained valuable insights
Yes.
and practical tools
Absolutely.
to help you create a more fulfilling and empowered life.
Definitely.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep exploring the amazing potential that lies within you.
You've been listening to the House of Coaching podcast, where real transformation happens one conversation at a time. If today's insights sparked your interest, hit that like button and subscribe. You would not want to miss what's coming up next as Marcia and John take you behind the scenes of more transformative sessions with our master coaches. Visit thehouseofcoaching.com, connect with us on LinkedIn, and join a community of forward-thinking professionals who are reshaping the future of business.
Wake up with fire in your veins. John and Marcia spark the flames. Coaching tips to fit your aims. No more playing simple games. Unlock the power deep inside. Let the house of coaching be a guide. Run the race with giant strides. No more reasons left to hide. Bring out the best in